Welcome back to day one here in the summer split. Fnatic got a good start to the series, but Misfits Gaming are not giving up without a fight. Misfits, red side, ready to go, ready to rock. And I gotta say, the thing we noticed that the audience may have noticed as well, Reckless left the stage, went back with his team, had a chat. There were no dramatic shot moments. There were no dramatic like hand and head moments. This guy looks like a different person. Smile on his face. That time he took off is doing some good.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's nice to see that he seems like a completely different person. His goals for this split were to be more a part of the team. He wanted to be with the rest of Fnatic more, and he's definitely looking like much more a team player within Fnatic. So it's nice to see this growth. We'll have to see how it progresses throughout the regular split. Meanwhile, I'm more interested in seeing how my arm progresses. As we came into this matchup, you trying to hype me up, and you've now broken my arm. So
to be fair, my producer said, get hype, punch each other. And I did my job. I did my job. That's all I'm saying. You failed.
My arm is definitely hyped. But speaking of hype, we're now expecting a little bit more hype from Misfits because they did not have the best sort of performance in game one. I think that we were expecting a little bit more. We did hear them discuss on the desk that maybe we shouldn't have such high expectations of them on day one because bear in mind this is a brand new roster. Communication is something that does take time to develop. And against a Fnatic squad that seems to be definitely riding a high right now, it's a difficult wave to certainly catch.
Yeah, this is not a Fnatic that's playing a new style either. This is a Fnatic that is refining a style that they brought out at the end of Spring Split. Misfits, they not only have a new member, they now have to figure out how to play together again, how the team is going to function. But despite all that, we do have to give praise to one man who made a massive impact in the game, and it was Power of Evil. Didn't always have the greatest moments, but there were multiple team fights where he came in clutch, where he was able to knock people back, to scatter the weak time and time again, to stop those engages from just tearing Misfits apart. And without him, that game probably would have ended 10 minutes sooner. He single-handedly stopped fights from being disasters.
And it's interesting because we, as a broadcast team, were discussing spring of 2017 was probably Power of Evil's best split yet. On Misfits, he just seems to be playing in his comfort zone. The meta suited him perfectly. He was outplaying many of his opponents. He was regarded as one of the top mid laners here in Europe. And he just seems to be continuing on with that performance. He is still playing exceptionally well. And while during the early game, he was put a little bit behind because of the unique strategy that Fnatic did bring out by giving Caps that early level advantage, he's still able to contribute to his team. And we'll have to see coming into game two whether or not that will be enough to get Misfits into a one-on-one setup.
And I think at the end of the day, we have high expectations of the draft coming in here for Misfits. We want to see changes. We want to see somebody a little bit more agency in the early game. It did not work out when Alfari was on the Kennen. Did not work out with Maxlor on the Kha'Zix, but there's a lot that could be changed up here.
Now bear in mind, Misfits Gaming chose to be on red side for game two. So in terms of the bans, Fnatic can choose to just keep doing what they were doing. In game one, they banned away the Jace, the Rumble, and the Xayah. They already won game one. Why try to fix something that isn't broken? It is up to Misfits to try and change something up in the draft. Or maybe they just thought that it was an execution error, and maybe we see exactly the same stuff.
There's a lot to talk about here that's very important. I want to talk about something that's not, and it was ruined. Xayah banned away. I talked to Hansama and Ignar ahead of time. I said, guys, listen to me. If you play Xayah and Rakan together, if you're the first team to do it, the internet will make weird comics about you. And I think that's an aspirational goal for some people. However, Fnatic not going to let it happen. Kennen also going to be banned away on Misfits. They do not want to touch it. They do not want to see it again. They're going to mix it up already in the pick ban phase. And Fnatic, they say, hey, as you said earlier, Vedas, we won with it once before. Why not just rinse and repeat?
So this time around, the Lee Sin is up and available, so Misfits could go towards that option. I think that if they do want to put Alfari more on a carry in the top side, I think it would be better to have Maxlor on a tank. We know that given the current meta, you can afford to have more tanks in the jungle. Like, Ivan is still a decent pick. Sejuani is playable. The teams are yet to bring it out. Gragas is still a very reliable champion. So I think the Misfits have options that they can look to play around if they want to put Alfari on a carry or a tank.
And it's interesting because once again, we see the Varus coming out here for Misfits. Now, it's not clear if this is a priority because they believe it to be a strong pick, or if it's just that it's a safe pick, that it's reliable in what is going to contribute to the team. But either way, it has remained a consistent factor here for Misfits. And now, the change in the pick ban phase, Lee Sin up, available, and it is going to go into the hands of Maxlor. If you wanted to compare this guy to Cacao, now is your chance to do so.
Oh, it certainly is, because remember that this is the champion that Kakao was well known for. It was the champion that he had a phenomenal regular season record on. And now the pressure will be put on as Fnatic. They just continue to repeat their draft.
Galio going to mix it up, though. I was about to say it's like that scene in The Matrix. Like we have the same groups for Summer Split we did for Spring, basically. New teams. Then we have the same draft coming into Game 2. Felt like a lot of the same thing, but Misfits say no. Lee Sin, Galio going to be picked up here. Fiora immediately banned away. They don't want to give SOAS access to any of those counter matchups. Have to see what the next ban is going to be as well. What Fnatic deem necessary to take away. A little bit of a difference here in what the teams have opted for in their first pick phase.
So before they did ban away both the Ivan and Tahm Kench, I think they can continue with the Tahm Kench ban. He is a very good pick into the Thresh. And they could also look to either focus on just banning away other support champions. And given that they don't really have an advantage, I think it just makes more sense to just keep banning away those supports.
Syndra taken off the board. A lot of respect paid over to the potential blind pick available for Caps. Of course, they will have the luxury of last pick on the side of Misfits, so it makes the most sense to see a support locked in here. But maybe there's something that deserves more priority. The Taliyah is up. The Taliyah is available and is an option, as is the Orianna. Interestingly enough, Malzahar going to be the pick locked in here, despite, honestly, repeated nerfs.
Now, bear in mind, Ignar, during the regular season of Spring, had a 6-1 record on that Malzahar. He is good at the champion. He is what made him well known for being that kind of playmaker support, and it's something that he is definitely very comfortable on. So Misfits, perhaps they're saying, you know what, Fnatic, you play comfort, we'll do the same.
And then we talk about picks being very important. You've got an Elise, you've got a Thresh on the opposite side. Now you have a Malzahar and a Lee Sin to set up on the side of Misfits. Both teams can catch people out and take them down if it's an option, but keeping in the theme of potentially protect the Reckless.
Keeping certain people alive. I feel like Fnatic have a trend. They had the Galio game 1 for the damage reduction. Now they have Shen to just be this big, beefy shield.
It's interesting. It's just Fnatic doing their best double lift era CLG impression.
But it works, right? Like, the fascinating thing about it is you don't even feel like Reckless is the only threat on the team, especially given the performance of Caps in Game 1. He's got himself the Orianna. Very likely the Power of Evil going to go towards something like an Ahri. Maybe he goes to something a little bit riskier like the Echo, or he too could pick himself up the Taliyah and look to try and play more around the map.
Ooh, but Power of Evil, this is a statement right here. That is some confidence. Picking the Ahri into this matchup. He has faith in his ability to outplay, to potentially land those clutch charms in key moments. Keep this one going. Two very different team comps this time around. Well, Fnatic very similar in what they're trying to do, but different champions. And of course, Misfits, almost a complete mix-up here in terms of draft.
We wanted to see change from Misfits, and that's exactly what they've done. They've gotten themselves a 1-3-1 pick-style composition, which is very much about trying to catch targets out, especially Caps. He has decided to run the cleanse, which I think is very, very important into the Ahri matchup because of how quickly a champion like Orianna can get nuked down if that charm is able to land. Now, Ahri was a pick that Power of Evil regularly brought out during the regular season, so it is something that we have seen from him before. And when you think about engages, Ahri Galio is actually a great combo. We saw it during the international, the MSI play-ins rather, where the Ahri would just dive in, you think you can engage onto her, and then boom, a hero suddenly appears out of nowhere, and then you have everything that you need to turn it into a party in your favor.
And we saw in Game 1 how crucial the flash taunts were for the Galio. Well, now there's plenty of teams that can flash, they can get into that backline, the Lee Sin, the Ahri, they can set this man up for success. And folks, if you believe in Misfits, if you think they can bring it to a 3-game series, hashtag MSF win. You've got faith in Fnatic. If you want to see them back on top, hashtag FNC win. Crowd is ready. Max Lore smiling on his face. Lee Sin in his hands. Alfari with a potential tank in the top lane to set him up for success. Confidence coming into Game 2, and they're going to need it because Fnatic clearly just getting better and better since we last saw them. That guy agrees with me.
Yep, he does. Good on him. Now, meanwhile, in terms of the early level 1, Fnatic have this tendency to do some pretty cool stuff. We saw in Game 1 the steal away of the Raptors to give Caps the early level 2. This time, I think Misfits should try and ward up for it so they don't fall for the same trap. Or alternatively, try and do the same play. Maybe force Broxah away from his Raptors, try and steal away some of that experience. You have a decent setup to enable you to try and do that. But right now it seems that things are pretty cool, pretty casual on the Rift very early on into the game.
Vedius, you made the mistake of getting really excited at level 4 last game, and I think you might need to
Did
calm
I?
down.
Is that what I did?
Yeah, I think any discerning ear would know that it was definitely your mistake and not mine. So we'll keep it calm.
Right.
It's the same as last game. We're waiting for level 6s. We're waiting for these ultimates to come online before we really start to see any kind of playmaking.
From Fnatic. But for Misfits, they can be a lot more proactive around the map very early on. Even though Power of Evil doesn't have his ultimate, he can group up with Maxlor and move into the enemy jungle to try and find these picks, get up some deep vision. And Maxlor being on this early jungler in the form of Lee Sin, remember that is what Kakao made a name for himself for here in Europe. He was renowned for getting these early plays and setting up Misfits for success in the early portion of the game. So can Maxlor maintain that legacy, or will he fly on his face?
And if there's any team we could rely on to snowball a lead, it was Misfits. These guys are mean once they can get it going in their favor. And Maxlor have to use the Winds of War to start clearing out that Raptor camp. Similar story on the opposite side. No one's going to get any extra experience going into this mid lane.
I love that you said that Misfits are mean. Because in my head, they're just like, when they have an early game lead, they're like, you're stupid. You look ugly in that dress.
Do you just assume that anyone who's winning is just constantly BMing the opposite side? I feel like you're putting your solo queue problems. You're projecting a little bit, Vedius. These are professionals.
Of course,
they never
of course.
BM.
Yeah, no, of course. So in terms of early game, you can see that a bit of a push advantage being gained in the bottom lane, but because Soaz was able to get that trade advantage at level 1, he's got a bit of a push up in top. So pretty standard what we're seeing so far, and it'll be interesting to see this Malzahar come back in, because one of the reasons as to why champions like Malzahar and Zyra have kind of fallen off in this meta is because of that bad boy shield that has been picked up by Reckless. It mitigates, or rather, when you have the Voidlings hitting you in the face, it constantly resets that ticking regeneration that you get from the shield, which means that you don't actually take anywhere near as much damage as you should, and the regeneration really helps mitigate a lot of that pressure as well. So that's one of the big reasons as to why we're seeing less of this Zyra Mouse in the current game.
Basically gives you that 2 health per second, which is pretty crucial when you look at those small dots like the Deathfire touch, like the Void Wings hitting you, all those little things very much mitigated. But now Broxa,
he's back.
They talked about this problem on the desk. Alfari overextending. Looks like it could still be an issue. Justice Punch, nice block out by Soaz. Double taunt coming in, but they already want to hit him. That's not what you need. They've got the power to keep diving this if they want to, but they're just going to back off.
That was a clutch flash from Alfari. He realized when the taunt flash was going to come out, was able to dodge it, but then, because on the Justice Punch, you always step backwards before you go forward, that allowed enough time for Soaz to get in the way and go, punch me, fool! And then...
I mean, he didn't really punch. It was kind of like brought his fist, hit.
He kind of tripped up on his own fist, right? He like punched himself in the face.
The logistics of it aren't important, but it whiffed.
It whiffed.
Ooh, caps. All right, we talked about this being a bit more of a skill matchup, but Vedius, Power's getting spanked in these trades. What's going on here?
So basically what happens in the early game is that Ari really struggles to win out on trades because Caps can always position his ball at the same level as the minion waves, but then he can stand behind the minion waves too, which means that the Foxfire and the Charm will not land, so the only trading tool the Power of Evil has is his Q, which is very difficult to land as well if Caps stays at max range. Whereas all Caps has to do is walk up, use his ball every time Power of Evil tries to farm, and then he's able to win out on a lot of these early trades. It's at level 6 that Caps really has to respect the all-empowered Power of Evil, because that is where he has all this mobility that Caps can't keep up with.
Spoke a little bit too soon. Power of Evil runs in and then wins the trade immediately. Now may look to deny Caps' back. Power has to be careful. Charm comes out, but Caps doesn't have enough mana to keep this wave pushing.
So just for context as well, remember that just to demonstrate how well Caps is playing, Power of Evil went back to base, teleported back in, and now he's at the same health bar that he was at, while Caps still hasn't even had an opportunity to go back. So now Jezis has joined, and it's going to alleviate some of the pressures that Caps can finally go back to base. Caps, he had a fantastic game one. You just saw his scoreline on the screen, and he's doing it once again on this Orianna early on.
Happy to keep this going. And realistically, Ari, yeah, she's always got that threat onto a single target. She can just rip through anyone who gets in her way. But Orianna, Shockwaves can win entire team fights if we go late into the game. So to have an advantage this early is a pretty good sign. But on the opposite side for Misfits, despite the range advantage Malzahar should give them, still losing out a little bit here on the bottom side of the map, just barely evening up the CS, and Reckless keeping it interesting. Got the boots too, once again.
Yep, once again, and look at that lost chapter picked up for Caps. That is immense in this matchup especially, because both mid laners are so mana dependent. It contributes so much to their ability to trade and lane. Caps should be able to get that early level 6 as well. It just goes back to how well he has been playing this early game. And also, look at all the control wards. That is so much early vision being invested from Fnatic to avoid any of these early game plays that Maxwell might try to look for.
And look at all the mid lane pressure. Misfits roaming up to mid lane. Fnatic roaming up to mid lane as well. It's clear we talked about Power People being a big factor. Fnatic are aware. Both teams happy to fight for control of that mid lane. But now it may mean control of the bot. Flash forward, play in. Hansama's in trouble. Exhaust goes down. Where's the backup? CC ticking down on that side. Charge goes in. Leap forward from Reckless. Has to be careful, but there's the Shen ultimate. Perfect timing on the first blood. Max Floor's in no man's land. He's going to drop. Power People flashing forward. He wants to get something back. Alfari is here as well. Taunt connects onto 2. Power still alive, but there is no mana in that bag. Bam! Ignar going to drop as well. Triple for Reckless, and that is a nice start for Fnatic.
You could not ask for a better way to begin game 2 than a triple kill on your superstar AD carry. Reckless with the Tristana, getting himself off to a fantastic start.
Talked about slow games at 7-minute last time. This is why, because Fnatic, when they go in, they go hard.
And again, why try to fix something that isn't broken? Jez is on this Thresh, just flashes in, knows that he can look to make the play. Maxwell was not in a position to try and assist his team because he was doing the gromp. He was super low health. He'd already taken the damage. Alfari's TP was way too far away, and Fnatic, the collapse was just too quick. Level 6 on Soaz, the repel from Broxer. Everything came together, and Fnatic with a 2,000 gold lead 7 minutes into the game.
Power of Evil No Lost Chapter meant no mana in that fight. He could not do anything. Alfari leaps in, tries to taunt Reckless. Reckless just leaps out and says, I'll go kill Ignar.
And it's all about that level 4 power spike that we were talking about last game, right? Fnatic, they saw it, they went for it immediately.
I think it was the Shen level 6.
I mean, maybe,
but...
regardless, Jesus, he's now looking for an opportunity to see if he can punish Power of Evil, who has no flash or ulti in the middle lane.
Whew. This is a rough life for Misfits. We said we wanted more in the early game. Not the fans didn't all agree.
No.
A lot of the fans in favor of Fnatic, and I think that's definitely fair. Long-standing org, have to be excited for them, and after that game 1, maybe fair to be skeptical. But we knew Misfits had the potential to come back, but this time, Fnatic are playing even better. We saw H2K stumble in their first game. They talked about it. Maybe last game was Fnatic stumbling, and this is the dominance we should expect.
So now Misfits, they're making the rotation up to the top lane. So he still has his flash, but I don't know if he expects this collapse from Misfits.
Well, Hansama walking out of the bush. No ultimate available makes this a little bit awkward. Fnatic are going to know about this well ahead of time, and they also have a pretty big wave building on the bottom side. It'll be a race for that tower first blood. Maxlor's here. So it's not going to be able to approach the tower comfortably. Caps charged up, locked under tower, but does use the cleanse to safety, trying to walk, trying to sidestep. Power of Evil not going to connect on the Orb of Deception.
That is so unlucky for Power of Evil. If he had landed that Q, that would have been a solo kill. He realized the moment that he missed it, that if he overcommitted any more, that actually could have resulted in his death because Cap still had its ultimate.
And once again, no lost chapter still means Power of Evil does not have the mana to keep this wave cleared and also stay safe. Fnatic looking to take down 2 towers, doubling down on this tower exchange, but the rest of Misfits are coming in to make sure that doesn't happen. But once again, where's Reckless, Vedius? Where's Reckless?
He's in the bottom lane. He's split pushing. He's doing what Reckless does. He's going to go back to base, likely working towards an early Blade of the Ruin King. I feel like his build path is, what would you say? How would you describe his build path, Dracos?
Why don't we play a game?
Play a game?
Play a game.
Yeah, let's play a game.
So, for those wonderful people out there watching the stream who remember Quick Shot Bingo, let's play Fnatic Bingo. I want you to take one square somewhere on this imaginary board. Let's say Reckless Blade of the Rune King. Let's say Reckless boots 2. Let's say Reckless in a side lane. Let's see Fnatic plays around Reckless. And let's say, well, for this one, Fnatic wins the game. Last game, at least.
So far, anyone that may have all of those things on their bingo card are definitely in a good position.
And you do, because they do the same thing every game. And the thing is so often we see a team with one style get punished. A while ago it was Splice. They said 1-3-1 every game. Teams figured out how to deal with it. Fnatic, no one's figured out how to deal with it.
How can we make Reckless a bad player? That's the true tactic to being able to beat Fnatic.
He's already playing what should be B tier 80 carries. He's already building weird stuff. Like, how do we nerf Reckless?
Well, for the time being, Misfits, they're still trying to figure it out as they group up as a 3-man unit to put pressure onto this Tier 1 in the bottom lane.
And I like this from Misfits. They look a lot more confident to continue making these plays, to continue trying to accelerate the pace of the game. Yes, they may be down about 3K gold, but they're still making things happen on the map. They say, we don't want to fight you, Fnatic. We'll just avoid you around the map.
I think this is basically Misfits saying, you know what? Rekka's just got a triple kill. I don't think we can 2v2 them anymore, so let's just cut our losses and get what we can across the map. They're continuing their push down the bottom lane. Maxwell's just picked himself up the Drake, but that is going to be a cost of a Rift Herald as well. So now you have Broxik, who can just move up to the top as Soaz gets
the ultimate
off.
coming out. Soaz is in trouble. Kick back into the team means he's not going to get a chance to respond. Not even going to get the kill back as the heal comes out from Hans Sama. But the Rift Herald has now been summoned, and that's right in the mid lane. That means as much as Misfits may get from this, Fnatic are going to look to take double. Hey, look at Caps' little friend there. Pop goes the tower.
The thing is, Ari really sucks at being able to kill this as well. Now, all Reckless has to do is transition over, and sure, they might lose an inhibitor tower, but they're going to lose so many structures that give Fnatic a lot of control around the map.
Another tower taken down. Rift Herald's going to charge another structure with half health left. That means still a decent amount of damage to come out. Just now starting their back timers. They have a Tristana, they have a Rift Herald. Fnatic are going to break open the base. They've taken so many towers, and now they're going to get Power of Evil. Beautiful entrance from Alphari, but too little, too late here.
Most successful Rift Herald of the split. 3 towers in a row. Most optimal way to use it. It will result in 3 towers being lost to Fnatic in the bottom lane, but I think they're happy with this because, sure, you do have an exposed Nexus, but given the amount of control that you've gained over the entire map and exposing a mid lane Nexus yourself, I feel like Fnatic are just saying, all right, cool.
In order to, they lost towers in that exchange. They went further down in gold, now at a 4K deficit. This just feels like Misfits. I just praise them for pulling the trigger, for making an aggressive move of their own, but this was not the right move for the team.
Oh, but Misfits, they just did what they felt was best, right? Like, if they try to back up, the likelihood is they're going to lose these towers anyway because of the wave that Reckless had. They guaranteed that they were going to lose the Rift Herald too, so they just had to get the best out of a bad situation. The problem is, the situation is now really bad. 4,000 gold deficit at almost 13 minutes into the game, with a pick composition where you want to be playing 1-3-1, but you can't really send anyone off to a side lane because your Ahri doesn't even have Umbrella Nomicon yet. Alphari, he hasn't even completed his first major item. There are a lot of deficits that Misfits are sitting under, and it makes it very difficult for their composition to be played the way they want it.
And luckily, the itemization is even for now, but how much, in the bottom lane at least, but how much longer is it going to remain that way? You can see 1,500, the gold difference between the two 80 carries. That's an extra Zeal, extra couple of daggers as well. Runan's very quickly approaching for Reckless, making it all that much easier for him to continue pressuring, for him to continue pushing down a side lane and threatening these towers that are quickly running out for Misfits.
A lot of pings coming towards the bottom lane. The game is very likely to slow down a little bit right now, largely because the next set of towers for Fnatic to start sieging onto can be better protected by Misfits, and with the Rift Herald gone, you don't have that same sort of sieging tool. So Fnatic, they're just going to have to wait. They're going to invest in a lot of deep vision, likely looking to find picks.
Oh, miss out. Powerful, quick reactions there.
Caps, he wants blood.
Caps always wants blood.
Yeah, he needs blood for the robot armor of Orianna.
That's pretty grim, probably fair for that skin. Now the tower looking like it may just break. Power Evil getting caught sets them up, but they don't have the wave clear quite yet. Or rather, the damage to take down that tower. Another creep wave approaching quickly. Will this be enough to break it? Are Misfits going to contest here? Shen still pushing on the top side, has Stand United, has the teleport. Misfits is going to give it up, and the map continues to shrink. Vedius, when we talked about this, when we looked at Pickban, we said 1-3-1 for Misfits. They have the setup necessary. Is that even possible anymore?
It is. They just need to hit their power spikes much faster, like now. I mean, if they buy enough time, then sure. But for me, the big criticism is, again, where was Maxwell? Like, a lot of investment was given from Fnatic to try and get deep vision, but now they're going to try and punish him once again.
Cocoon misses. That's going to make it pretty difficult to make anything else happen. Flash forward for Soaz, drags the blade with him, trying to get the slows down onto Ignar as he runs for his life. Oh, we call that the dunk. All too easy.
Two members of Misfits sucked into the void of Caps. They're now in a poised position to move towards that inhibitor, and Fnatic can just take whatever they want.
And you just line him up, you knock him down. Ball attached to Soaz. He doesn't even need the taunt. Caps will provide the CEC. Caps will speed him up. Soaz crushing this top lane matchup. 1-1-4 the scoreline. 122-86. As we look at it again, Cocoon can miss.
Yeah, it's fine.
Taunt can miss. It does not matter.
Watch what happens here. Soaz uses his Q to be able to proc the passive, and he still has the ball on him, and Misfits don't even realize. They get popped so fast. It just results in a very easy double kill going in favor of Fnatic. Now, I just want to quickly check what objective they're actually getting off the back of that. They really didn't choose to pursue it any further. They just got a bit of deep vision down. You can see the trifecta of wards in the top side of Misfits jungle, and they're setting up for the back. It will be spawning in about 4 minutes time. That is the big objective for them once again, is Power of Evil trying to just get something back.
Power of Evil poking down on the Soaz. Soaz hitting back hard here. Multiple members committing onto Soaz. He is going to go down in the end. That's a nice pickup for Misfits. Will relieve some of the pressure, but still, just a little prize in the scheme of things.
Someone is happy.
I don't know if that's a Misfits. I think I will take that as a Misfits fan. Go you, Misfits fan.
Or he just really doesn't like Soaz. that's the alternative.
I mean, that's a little rude, but you know, whatever makes you happy.
Meanwhile, whoever's playing Reckless Bingo, you've just lost, because he has just buried
I hate to break it to you, but when I spoke earlier about Reckless's op.gg account, all right, I guess that's okay. The only alternative is that sometimes he builds Phantom Dancer instead of Rune Hands.
Okay.
I forgot to mention it because it didn't seem important at the time. But yeah,
but you set everyone up for the same Reckless Bingo.
No, you don't get the bingo point. I'm just saying this isn't unexpected.
Of course it's not unexpected. It's also very conventional in the current meta. Like, the damage reduction is extremely valuable, especially when you're playing against the pick composition. The risk is very high. Now, Misfits, they set up towards the dragon. Fnatic, they want to answer.
This is the potential power of Malzahar. Voidling's making this pretty easy, but Soaz double taunt on the backside, gonna block out any auto attacks. They leap immediately in onto him, but there is no response from Fnatic. Soaz all alone, all by himself, overstays his welcome, and now Power, he's hungry for a little bit more, has the red buff, he can slow him down, leaps back onto Caps, but he's gonna miss the charm. Lantern gonna keep him safe, backing off as Maxlor takes the dragon, hook connects, Power drops, easy pickup for them. Now Misfits still trying to hold on, still trying to get a little bit more, but my God, look at the picture in picture. Reckless just keeps coming, just keeps dishing out the damage. Misfits, yeah, they may win the fight, but it's because they have the man advantage, and still, they're losing out. Ignar, absolutely deleted. Reckless just gonna walk forward, has the rocket jump as well, doesn't even need a kill. Nice of you to show up.
Things started to look so bad for Fnatic after losing Soaz, after no one followed him up on that initiation. You think Misfits, they're gonna get the dragon, they're gonna win the fight. But then 3 versus 5, Fnatic find a way. All the while, Reckless split pushing up in the top lane, getting himself the solo tower, and continuing the advantage of Fnatic in this game.
Mid lane, so much pressure streaming in. 2 open inhibitors now. Not even 20 minutes into the game.
Oh yeah, we're not. Oh wow, okay. I thought we were much later into the game.
The theme of today is casters have no idea what the game time is.
Concept of time, not relevant.
Not late game, as it turns out, but Fnatic are very quickly getting to that point.
Yeah, so have a look. This was a good taunt from Soaz, but there just was no reliable follow-up because of the ultimate that came out from Han Summer that rooted up a lot of the members of Fnatic. And you think, okay, this is the point. Power of Evil, who wants to land a charm, misses everything. Isn't quite able to get onto the target that he wants. They're forced to disengage. Maxwell's very low. Now watch Jesus. Lands a great hook onto the Ahri, instantly dead. But you think, oh, she's used all of her abilities. She's not even that much damage anyway. So Han Summer can still turn it around. Nope. Caps has his flash. Han Summer also ends up getting super low thanks to a big shockwave from Caps, and then it's just constant kiting backwards from Fnatic, buying time for Reckless to join the fray and go, oh, you guys have killed everyone. Okay. Maybe I should have stayed up top. But anyway, Fnatic still get everything that they want.
And really, when we look at it, we knew Reckless would be a huge part of this team. We knew the team could play around him, but Caps, Broxa, Jesus, all showing up in a way that I don't know if we expected it. Jesus, he gets another one. Gonna knock him down. Reckless on a rampage. Let's see where he wants to go to. Jump is available. Are we gonna see the rocket jump reset? Sonic Wave not gonna connect. Maxlor does kick him into Reckless. Charm goes in. Alfari trying to taunt as many members as he can to keep himself alive, but Reckless does so much damage. All the focus onto Soaz. 2 members pop back in. Taunt the chain CC. Keep going. Get the resets. Leap in. Reckless. Not even living up to his name. He makes it look too easy.
Another triple kill for the Fnatic AD carry, as Fnatic looking so convincing, so dominant coming into the new summer split. They're going to take this series 2-0, and they are going to do it in style.
20 minutes, folks. 30 seconds, triple inhib down. And Vedius.
They baited me. They're not going to end the game.
No, they're doing it in style. They say, we've won. We're going to take our time. We're going to remind people who Fnatic is, what we're about. And right now it looks like stylish kills, dominating victory, and weird picks for Reckless.
And padding out that KDA just a little bit more. I mean, the fact that Soaz, good guy Soaz, taking all of the deaths for his team.
Okay, keep in mind, fastest game this year is 23.5 minutes. So Fnatic,
Go Fnatic, go!
Have to choose between asserting dominance via very slowly ending this game and breaking records.
So let's have a look. This actually started off with a fantastic hook from Jez's on Chuhan Sama, losing one of the primary damage dealers, and then Misfits do what they can to turn it around, but they have to focus on Soaz, who is just so tanky. He does end up dropping, but at that point, all of the members are dead.
They burn everything, and he still manages to taunt 2 members before going down, lining up everything for the kills to follow. 46.3 to 33.6. Nice escape from Alfari. He's going to drag that bomb back into his team, helping pad the Reckless damage numbers a little bit more. And at this point, I think we have to say Misfits looking a little lost, looking a little scattered. Maybe this is what we can expect since they're adapting to a new member.
But also fantastic play overall from Fnatic. It looks like their priority is not on getting the fastest game of EULCS this year.
They have a minute and a half.
Yes. But their focus is playing around good Baron. See, they're working on their Baron control. They realized, look, a Baron wasn't good enough. We need a deep vision before. Then we can play around the big purple worm.
I mean, we got to say it. We like it. It doesn't have to be stylish. If you want to be the best team in Europe, it's really not about style. It's about consistency. It's about, well, also a little bit of style. We did see Perks at MSI side stuff like a million things and kill Faker a couple times.
My only issue with it is, while the theory is great, when you have a 13,000 gold lead, even if they can't challenge.
22 minutes. It's 22 minutes, Vedius. We don't need to nitpick. Fnatic are crushing Misfits.
Very true. They certainly are.
And while there's a lot to work on for Misfits, we cannot praise Fnatic enough for this series so far. This is exactly the opening that Fnatic fans wanted to see, and they got it. Reckless is delivered. Jesus on this Thresh is insane. I am surprised if this continues to make it through picks and bans. Broxah consistently having an impact in the early game. Soaz is Soaz. We know Soaz. He does stuff, and he makes stuff happen.
Yep, and now Fnatic, they're knocking on the final base towers as they go to 2-0 this series.
Moving forward, one final team fight, but it may just be a formality. Played back, Ignar immediately going to get popped. Broxah moving forward. Reckless is doing reckless things. Double kill drops for Soaz, so he too can pad out the KDA. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 for Fnatic. Dominating first games.
And who do you highlight on this team, right? Sure, right? I mean, he was considered a superstar, but there were so many great performances from Soaz to Broxah to Caps to Jez. Like, so many standout individuals.
I just want to go back to that first Shen play. Jez landing clutch hooks. Reckless fiercely leaping forward, so as communicating that they can make an aggressive play like that. There's so many teams in Europe, in spring at least, that would have fumbled that execution. But not this team. And it was 23 minutes and 24 seconds. Now I'm going to have to get confirmation from our stats team that was the fastest game this year.
It was. It was, in fact, the fastest game of this year. And you can see the smiles on the faces of Fnatic. This is also the Reckless that fans wanted to see. This guy is happy. He's with his team, and this team are playing fantastic right at the start of the split.
I'll be honest, I was skeptical, man. I was skeptical when he didn't go to Korea. I know mental health is important, but so is team play. But this was the right choice, and we have to praise him for making the hard call. To not go with his team, to allow himself to mentally recover, definitely the right choice, or at least it looks like it is right now, because they are cleaning up in these games.
Oh, they certainly are. It was a very clean set of games throughout today. We've seen 2-2-0s right now, but it is only the first game of first set of series of the split. We still have 2 days.
I mean, at the end of the day, this doesn't mean that Misfits are going to be a bad team. This means Misfits have things to work on. I'm sure Fnatic have things to work on too. They're not going to win every single game,
Let's
right?
not forget Fnatic were in Misfits' position right at the start of the split in spring, right? Like, it's fine to fall down early on. This was a roster that they decided to invest in for Misfits. They finished 4th during the regular season, and losing to Fnatic based on their current performance is not a bad thing.
And I think we have to hold Fnatic to the same standards that we held Misfits to last season, which was they're starting good, they're looking good right now, but we need to track improvement as we move forward. They're an awesome team, but what can they develop? Is there more in the tank? Is it going to be Tristana Thresh every game? What else can they show us as a team? Well, right now, they don't need to show us a lot of anything because they're clearly dominating, but we will see how this team develops as we kind of look towards more games in the future.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what else Fnatic can bring, and I'm hopeful that Misfits can improve throughout the regular season because, sorry, I just fell on your face, I apologize about that. Because I want a competitive split. I don't want it to be as top-sided as we saw during spring. You know, I'm expecting that later into the season, both Misfits and Fnatic can be fighting for that second place spot, because I'm not convinced anyone can challenge G2 yet.
It's a little too early to make any kind of crazy definitive statements, but that's going to do it from us here at the Caster Desk. For more on day one, let's go load into the post-game lobby.
Thank you so much, Dragos, and welcome indeed to the glorious first edition of the post-game lobby of summer, where we, where we'll be looking back on the series at hand or the series that played out today. What's the TLDR of the post-game lobby for new viewers?
We talk about a lot of things. There's a lot of talking. Today, it's going to be talking about how game 1 was close and then game 2 in both series.
Yeah, for sure.
Like fastest game.
Yeah, we are going to start with Fnatic versus Misfits, and yeah, most notably that second game, as it was the fastest game of 2017 and of the summer split then, of course, so far. And wow, I mean, it was an absolute slaughter, starting off with a triple kill for Reckless. So let's start by taking a look at that. Who was wrong here? Obviously Misfits, but why did it go so horribly wrong?
I think at this point, when you look at it, Hansama gets soloed down quite quick. Alfari is not necessarily late on the TP, but because of it so far back and the fight drifting upwards, he can't get there in time. So it ends up being a 2 versus 4 and then another 2 versus 4 that comes out from Misfits.
Yeah, and in every single little fight, we actually saw some super cool mechanical outplays from Fnatic, like Source's taunt right there on the dashing Ahri. Fantastic. Flash Flay engage from GS's as well was on point. But to go back to the start of the play, it was 2 guys from Misfits walking into place a ward when they had no vision without a jungler nearby. So you walk blindly into the enemy jungle and, well, funny enough, the enemy jungler was there, and that's why Fnatic can engage. And this happened for Misfits in both games. So often they would just take super risky plays that would give a really tiny reward. So it's not even like a great reward if it actually succeeded. It's placing a ward. That's all you would get for it. And then end up dying like and lose 3 guys.
Yeah, when those same things happen then, when they go for a trade that's already a bit disadvantageous for them, but Fnatic has a huge lead, then it just always snowballs further, as we see in the next example as well when it goes about turret trading. But Fnatic, they have Rift Herald, so they have an advantage.
Yeah, this is where you could be excused to think that, well, Misfits from behind, they're getting towers here, but then you realize exactly how much Fnatic get from this. They've already are in process of picking up the Rift Herald, 2 towers from the top side, Misfits get a kill, and bot lane, and then it's everything about mid lane, from outer through to inner tower, like 13 minutes.
Such a bad call. Like, not only are you giving up topside with the Rift Herald, as you highlight, you're also against Tristana, who wants to just siege up turrets. Like, you can never just trade purely bottom side for topside when enemy can get Rift Herald in the early game as well to then go mid. I love the play from Fnatic saying we don't want inhib turret on top side because we can get another one in the mid lane, because it's more important to get all the outer turrets out of the way instead of getting like an open inhib at, what, 14 minutes. It's not going to do anything for you.
Especially when you get that spine of the rift down so early. Suddenly, Misfits don't have anywhere they can go on the rift without, sacrificing something, face checking, somehow trying to get wards down, and then Misfits just run out of options because they have no vision control.
Yeah, I do believe we have one more replay, but it's actually more of the same, going for a trade that doesn't end up well for them, and Reckless just can solo push all the way through in the top lane.
This fight's funny because it ends up being a 3 versus 5. Soaz goes in to take up a lot of time, and he's tanky. Look at how much damage he's putting out alone as Shen onto Igna and Hansama. So Soaz dies, and you think, okay, Fnatic, they're going to back away, just take some time, but watch this. They go aggressive on Caps.
You have to hit this one.
You have to. And Caps, at this point, punishes them. Okay, the Dragon's gone off. Misfits still 3 versus 5 at this point, and Caps sidesteps a whole bunch of things this fight and outputs a massive amount.
Yeah, and then it just becomes like Fnatic literally outplaying Misfits once again. A lot of it coming down to like mechanical things. Great hook from Jesse into a combo from Caps, and there's another kill. And that was kind of the concerning thing for me right here. is that we understood or we expected Misfits to struggle in terms of shot calling with the new guy. Jesse's player of the series, I think that is super fair. The amount of hooks that man landed.
And I think, so even though I didn't vote for Jez's, I want
want you to go
explain.
like, yeah, high five.
He did, yeah, high five, great. I was going to explain a little bit about why Jez's got player of the series and not Reckless, because people will look at Reckless 11-0-11 on the series. Surely this guy
Results-based
carries.
analysis.
When we're looking at the actual impact, a lot of the trades came because of plays from Jez's. And then with Tristani, you get those last hits on the fight. I thought Caps did a great job. Personally, he was my player of the series. I think there was such a step up on a performance from Fnatic that they are looking a step ahead of what we saw in spring.
I want to go back to the Misfits point before Jesse's sidetracked
There's an interview
me.
also waiting, so it better be really
Is it also-
important. Yeah.
This point can wait. Let's
It
go
can?
to the interview
This is the
instead.
That's
first time ever.
It's a new split, boys. It's a new split.
It's a new split, it's a new vibe. And we're gonna have a new interview. Quick shot standing by with Fnatic's AD carry and top laner.
Thank you very much. So as in Reckless, it's pretty special. Martin, stop talking so we could talk to you guys. That doesn't happen very often. Congratulations on the win. So as you were watching a bunch of the replays there, why was it so one-sided and so heavy-handed in Fnatic's favor?
I think first game was a bit slow because it's obviously first game on stage since a while, and we have to get like used to it again, obviously. So first game was a bit slower, and we made a bit more mistakes. And third game they just made some decision mistakes, and after we got 5 threat and they got 2, the game was pretty much over. So we just had to wait because we don't want to take Baron. We don't want to take inhibs too early. So we had to wait for like Baron spawn and all this stuff. So we had to wait a while. But
Well, it felt a lot quicker to the viewers than maybe yourself. Reckless, Tristana, Thresh, fantastic lane, fantastic games. What was it like playing again, back on stage, with the lights, maybe some more expectation after a very strong finish to the Spring Split?
I think in general, probably everyone was pretty nervous in the first game. It's just, stage jitters and getting used to different gear and different screens and everything again. But I think in general, we played pretty similar to how we do in scrims, so I was really happy with today's result.
Yeah, definitely very exciting. A lot of fans in the crowd yelling and screaming for Fnatic the whole time. Let's talk a little bit about the meta. We've seen a couple of different games, LCK, LPL, Demacia Cup, things like that. So how are you finding the changes on 7.10 in comparison to previous split, Reckless?
I mean, for my own role, it's not much difference, but I think maybe in the next patch, like 7.11 with Blade Nerf, there will be some changes to the AD carry role. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really tried it out yet. But I think the game is actually quite similar to how it was before. Maybe the Herald has the biggest impact now. I think it's just more convenient to go topside in scenarios before where it wouldn't be a good thing. So I would say that's probably the biggest change, but all in all, it's not that different from the Spring Split.
Yeah, definitely for the AD carry role. Top lane, though, a little bit more exciting. We're seeing some more champions we haven't seen in a while. Are we going to see some fun picks for SOAS, or is it just going to be more of those tanky tops that we know you love to play?
well, I think the champion pool for top laners right now is pretty good. There's a lot of different styles you can possibly play, and there's a lot of new matchups since there's more and more champions. So it takes quite a while to get used to all these different matchups, because in scrims you rarely play like the same matchup during the whole week. So yeah, it's just a learning process to
Figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
See what happens next. I want to stop and step away from the game a little bit. So as we know, you guys went on the bootcamp to Korea. What was that like? What was the experience with the teams, the player, and actually playing without Reckless as well, which was an interesting turn?
Well, we went to Korea because almost everyone wanted to. Reckless wanted to take some time off, obviously. Especially Caps, since he have never been to Korea, he really wanted to go there and get to play solo queue, get to play against Korean players. So it was a really nice experience for him. At first, we were not sure if we wanted to go as a team or not. Maybe Caps should have gone to play solo queue there or something. But we decided to go as 4 with Rales. And we got some scrims against Challenger team, against a few LCK teams, against Chinese teams. So it was pretty good overall experience, especially for the new players. And I think for Jesse's and me, it was more of like just to get in that we are playing summer split now, so we're like trying even harder. And for the new players, it was a nice experience, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to be the case. Paid off today against Misfits. Interesting to see how one-sided it was. Reckless, phenomenal performance. I think I saw the stats 11-0-11 after the 2 games. The break, a little bit of a step away and coming back to the team on stage. How does it feel to be in your shoes after such a fantastic win?
I mean, it feels good to get a good start. Like, I think at this point I'm pretty tired of missing out on the finals. So this summer I really wanna make it, and yeah, it just feels good to be back, and I'm really looking forward to contesting for the top spots this split.
Very excited to hear you say that. I've only got a few more questions for you guys. Let's look a little bit forward. Reckless, Fnatic, very public, very outspoken about taking the trip to Korea, you taking a step back. Have you guys talked about the summer splits and your expectations for Worlds, for playoffs, for your region?
I mean, as I said, like getting finals is just for sure something we have to do. I think everything after that is not something we've really talked about. Like even just winning the finals is not something we've talked about, because we know that we have enough points to make it to Worlds anyways if it's G2 on the other side. So we're just taking like that goal as the one we're looking for. And then obviously like performing at Worlds is something everyone dream of doing, but it's just something that's really far away, so it's hard to talk about right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. It feels very, very far away. It's still 10 weeks of games to go. So as last question to you, as probably the most experienced player on the stage here in EULCS, multiple Worlds appearances, you talked about getting ready for Worlds and how that's what the career trip was for you. What is the summer split going to be for SOAS specifically?
I don't know. Hopefully better than all the other split. I don't know. I don't feel like I have a shift, like depending of split or depending of playoffs or normal split myself. I just, I don't know. For me, it's just really like normal, and it doesn't feel any really difference. But I guess it's just a lot more serious for the team as a whole. So everyone really wants to get to Worlds. So everyone put like extra effort, and it just makes the whole team gets better.
Well, it's definitely very exciting to watch. I want to congratulate guys on a fantastic 2-0. And the Fnatic faithful, they seem to be rewarded on day 1. Congrats, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to head back up to post-game lobby with Sharks and the boys.
Dankeschön. Merci. Yeah, cool. Yeah, very cool to hear from those guys. And they are quite calm. As opposed to us, we're obviously going to be totally like, these are the conclusions after day 1. They go for the entire split, but they're keeping calm. And it's good to see Reckless speaking again, and also speaking to us, because he did make that obvious shift in spring, saying, okay, I want to close myself off completely and just kind of focus in a different way. So it's cool to see that there's a shift, at least. But it both worked for them.
Especially when a lot of people saw that they were boot camping without Reckless. You were thinking, how efficient could it be that you're playing without a player that you're looking to put in your lineup? But it has certainly helped Fnatic as a team. One thing's nice, they're talking about Cab's going to play solo queue. I bet he was itching to play against Faker, baby Faker. Turns out Faker's over at MSI, winning another title.
It's baby Perks now, by the way.
Faker's baby Perks.
Yeah. Oh, true.
But I guess
Yeah.
Caps is still baby Faker.
I don't know how that
I'm not
works.
sure.
Wait, what?
There's a lot of names right now. Lane Kingdom, Faker, that's all we got.
Jesus, the terminology. We can't keep up. We're too old.
Still, that Misfits point.
Yeah.
That,
All right,
here we go.
ahead.
Okay.
I just want to take it back to that one. So we knew shot calling would be an issue with Maxlaw. It would take time. It will take time. I'm going to give him a few weeks before we can really judge the shot calling and then say, was it a success getting Maxlaw or not? Issue for me in this game was mechanically a lot of the players were just way worse than the Fnatic players. That should not have changed. Like Power of Evil's Ari in that last game, he didn't manage to hit almost anything. Hansama got outplayed in the bot lane by Reckless, and Jess is obviously...
Yeah.
Alfari never really managed to enter the games, even on the Kennen where he got ganked early. Like, those are some of the things I want to track the next few weeks with Misfits, and then I'm going to wait with the shot calling and macro till like halfway through.
And that's the thing is, the shot calling alone won't save those mistakes
No,
if
exactly.
they're still happening, as you're trying to say. So depending on how long that takes to go,
Yeah.
if both things are still an issue, Misfits might not quite look like the top contender they were looking at early on in the spring split.
Yeah, obviously, we do only have one series to judge, but it is
All the
summer split. No,
conclusions.
but it is summer split, so it is much tighter. And if you also look at the group, Fnatic now gets a very convincing win over Misfits. When they look at the other teams in the group, no
Yep.
Flame there, but G2 is the only like real contender that you have extremely a lot of trouble with.
Agreed.
You can assume that Rocket or NIP should be an easier, no Flame of course,
No,
but a more
course.
comfortable opponent.
Yeah. I mean, if you have...
I'm being careful.
And like, if you're Misfits and you're looking one way and you see G2 and Fnatic, and you look
Yeah.
the other way and you see Rocket NIP, you're
going that
definitely going that way towards
yeah.
Rocket NIP, 100%. And it might be the Group B scenario of last split where it was like 3 teams in Splice, H2K, and Unicorns who very clearly just became the top 3 guys, and there was a big gap down to Vitality as number 4. I can see the same thing this split for Group A, where the gap is between Misfits and Rocket, where it's pretty big, and the top 3 could then clearly be G2, Fnatic, and Misfits. But that's obviously very early. We haven't even seen Rocket and they play yet.
Right, the
Careful,
ironic,
careful, careful,
the
no
ironic
flame.
thing with
I
Maxwell
didn't
previously being on Rocket, a lot of people say, what is that streak continuing? There's so many questions about their new jungler Pride Stalker
Yeah.
that tomorrow we will see answered. Rocket were on that streak. Maybe they can have that fortune, but as you said, day one's the only day in the book so far. So many questions still up in the air.
Yeah, for sure. Day one, so let's look ahead or look towards Group B, because today we saw H2K and Splice, they took to the Rift. And if you talk about convincing wins, well, H2K had a very convincing 2-0 over Splice, and what we thought would be a closer matchup, the first performance there as well. And I mean, obviously you're like, yeah, the Unicorns of Love are still there, but H2K looked absolutely crushing today.
They looked fantastic, and Splice looked awful.
Yeah.
Like, it was a combination of both things. I think H2K's early game in the first game, we saw the stage nerfs a little bit, where, you know, there were some mistakes, but the macro was fantastic.
No,
And
Trevor.
what?
Hey, what?
Oh, I'm talking about Trevor right now.
Like
There we
usual.
go.
Oh, okay.
I'm so used to just zoning Trevor out. I don't actually even hear him anymore when he says anything. I just kind of nod at him and say, yes, Trevor. Yes, great point.
I think we saw about half a game out of Splice.
Yeah.
The first half of game
Early,
one
yeah.
looked decent.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
say good.
I'm trying to say what Trevor was yelling.
Exactly. That was what Deficio was trying to say. That Splice mechanical early looked fine, but then game 2 was what happens when a Fiora's 4-0. Well, Splice throw everything at the wall
Yep.
and nothing sticks. And a very, very quick, dominant game from Odo Amne.
Yankas got that first
Yeah.
blood. He then killed Senkuks in the mid lane, and then he went bot lane and killed the bot lane, and like all over the place we just had H2K like
That-
stomping them.
funny.
Did he kiss him?
No,
or-
I thought the same thing
Oh, okay.
today. It was just, it like grabbed his head. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
I mean, I don't know, you know. we're
Sure,
not behind
whatever
scenes.
he wants to do.
What I was going to say is, or what I asked the analyst earlier is when Splice comes in with a new coach, and then in the second draft, after losing the first game of the split, they do some different things. They have the Twitch in there. They put the Kali top lane, which is, you would expect them maybe to go like super tryhard or maybe a bit laid back, but maybe it's a good sign that they're like, you know what, we will just try something different because we know that we'll find our form.
Yeah, I think the only like non-meta pick was the Akali top
Yeah.
lane. I think Lucian mid is
But
something
Twitch
we
is
have
harder
seen.
to execute, you know?
Twitch is harder to execute, and I think they did hurt themselves a little bit in the bot lane right there. Game 1 draft was good, so I definitely don't want to blame like on draft purely. I think actually just they got outplayed in the game,
Yeah.
and H2K just came in much more prepared.
Especially on like when you're playing an Akali versus a Fiora where one of them gets ahead. You were saying 10-0-0-10 on either champion then. When you blind pick an Akali, it's not bad, but you are rolling the dice. There are blind pickable champions that you could say, okay, let's try and have a more neutral lane matchup. Whereas Odo Amne said, okay, I'm comfortable with this. It's not a matchup I've practiced a whole lot, but as long as we have some attention on the top
Yep.
side, the Fiora should theoretically get to the late game anyway, as long as you're not getting crushed.
And it's actually really good to see H2K come in this strong. A lot of fans, after the 3-0 loss against Fnatic, had kind of looked at H2K and said, yeah, these guys are not that good. But 10 weeks of regular season in the spring split had actually H2K looking like a top 4 team in Europe. Then they dropped out of quarters, and people kind of forgot that. I think they will be the team fighting against Unicorns a lot for first, which is not a massive surprise in this group. And it's going to be so fun to see who actually takes it. And also then between like the rest of the teams fighting for those like, for that last playoff spot. I was about to say those playoff spots, but there's only one left. And this point has been great. Let's go over to Stress right now. Stress, what do you want to say?
I want to talk about Che. He was the player of the series.
Yes.
If Che continues to play like that, this is the nuclear and Che we thought we were getting in Spring Split that just ended up playing on the back foot defensive. This was Che on Thresh, looking exciting, hitting all the hooks.
I
4
feel like
Thrashes today.
I feel like Thresh today
Little strong.
has just been very, very good.
Yeah.
And the reason is, there's multiple reasons, but one of them is Doran Shield. So his own AD carries safe, has some sustain. He doesn't need to offer anything. And second of all, a lot of these mage supports, like some of them, like Lulu's lost like 50 base HP, so you can actually all in. Base.
Super Blad champion.
Base HP, so you can all inner. Things like Karma, Zyra, kind of the same deal for Thresh. So there's a lot of playmaking potential right here, and a lot of our supports are the kind of like, I want to make the big play supports like Jess's, and now we even saw it from Jay.
It's also a bit foolproof, you don't have to go in and hook. You can just flash flay, and then you'll hit someone, and then someone else comes in. No, just kidding.
Pull a yellow
Obviously,
star.
or pull a yellow star.
Someone needs to gift that, and
That's-
every time someone misses on Thresh.
2 years ago, bottom. It was the I guess
It
everyone
was
wants to look
bot
it up.
lane 2 years ago.
Completely derailed here, but we did want to talk about the patch in just 7.10. We talked about Thresh and then the Doran Shield influence there and the influence in the game. What else did we see? We talked about top lane diversity. Oh, no, but this is Rift
Production
Herald.
are forcing us
No, it's
at
fine.
this point
Rift
to just go like, hey, we're going to talk about Rift Herald. It was in every single game and had that massive impact that we were expecting. When you put something
Losing
in
team,
the
though.
game, when you put something in the game that basically takes a tower down, almost 100% guaranteed, it's difficult for that not to be a
But
significant
did
threat.
it tilt games in someone's favor, or was it only helping people that were already ahead? In this series, obviously, Fnatic was already pretty far ahead. H2K used it, but then they would have taken the mid tower anyway.
It did
so
help H2K,
Well, it
because
definitely
I don't
helps.
know whether they would have broken
one,
that
yeah.
mid
Yeah.
lane
Yeah,
tower
yeah.
quite so quickly, because they were right on that expiring. As you said, they got it low already, but making that push is so much easier when Rift Herald just
Yeah.
smashes through that first tower.
And that's the key thing about Rift Herald is it should almost always guarantee you mid tower, which is often a tower you take last of the auto turrets, and the hardest one because like wave clear mid laners are sitting there just keeping the wave away all the time. So having that to just say, oh, this is a bit of a slow game maybe, we trade so you get an Infernal Drake, but we get Rift Herald to then take your mid tower.
Yeah.
That trade we will see a lot from the different teams, and it just depends on who's actually playing on the top side better. And it's basically like in Europe, it's a game about just getting turrets down. We don't take that many Drakes. Very often you have like 1 or 2 Drakes per game going over, maybe 3. And then it's all about just getting early towers and trying to get early kills.
And that's why I like the priority actually on the Tristana, especially Reckless with the unconventional boots play where you can get back to lane very quickly, push, try and get some damage down. Fnatic had set themselves up multiple towers early on, and if that's a playstyle that they can continue against opponents that are going to try and learn against this, maybe that's something that might be more apparent here in Europe. It's too early to say what the exact meta is, but Fnatic, they have their style once again.
Yeah, and you speak about, of course, playing towards the top side of the map and pushing those towers down. And in terms of meta, it's been interesting. It's been fun. You got a Kennen, you got a Fiora, you got an Akali, you got a Galio. That's fun, It's
Yes.
I mean, not that tanks aren't completely anti-fun, but they are less fun.
They are definitely less fun than watching a really strong player on like a Fiora.
Yeah.
Just try and get early kills and snowball the game. And when we've seen LCK, like almost every game, it's been a tank on one side and then a new carry on the other side. And it's something that just made me super happy to see, because the diversity also makes it very hard for top laners to actually master every single matchup.
Yeah.
So you can have these situations where someone is being picked into maybe a lane he didn't lane against so often, he gets outplayed on stage, and we have something again to talk about.
And that's the stuff we saw. We still haven't seen a few things. The Zac perma-banned,
Oh, yeah.
Zaya perma-banned, Sejuani not banned but didn't see any play. We're expecting it to come out here and there. There's a lot of exciting stuff still on
No
7.10.
Kled yet.
Yeah, a couple of bans.
I wanna see it.
I want to see more Kled. It's a fun
Definitely.
champion.
Yeah, but overall, a good feeling on the meta so far. Interesting
I love
playmaking
this.
champion,
Yeah,
so to say.
I love this meta. I think the diversity in a lot of roles is super fun. I just want to see more junglers.
Yeah.
It's kind of the
Yeah.
one where it's a little bit boring, and you want to see some of the weaker junglers getting buffed, so there's a little bit more you can use. But I think overall it's a really fun pick and ban phase.
This ad was sponsored by Riot Games. The meta is in a great place. No, it is. It was interesting today. And we're back tomorrow, of course, from Berlin with a rematch of one of the biggest upsets from last split, Roccat versus G2 Light. Our broadcast of that series starts at 5 p.m. Central European Summertime, followed by the Unicorns of Love versus Vitality Stress. You are so excited for the series.
I'm excited because this has the potential to turn the group here. If Roccat can deny a series win against the team everyone's expecting to top Group A, that's a massive threat to a team like Fnatic, who, if they end up being able to continue to get wins, continue to make their way
You're
to the
going to
top.
drop a reality bomb, aren't you?
Oh, the fact that G2 is playing, you know, with subs? Or?
No, I thought you were just gonna be like, it's never gonna happen or something. And
Oh, no, I mean, Rocket, I actually think Rocket are like favorites coming into the game based on G2 playing with subs. So I want to see Rocket do well, and I want to see what Stress is talking about, like early wins left and right. But also like Vitality Unicorns of Love, it's kind of the same thing. I'm not expecting a lot from Vitality early on. I think it takes a lot of time to kind of integrate, you know, both Vander and Yamato Cannon. I think Unicorns will just come off like a great spring split, a boot camp in Korea, into this split, like looking like H3K and Fnatic look today. That's what I'm expecting at least. But I want to see like a well-playing Vitality, because it's been a year
A
now
while,
of some pretty meh Vitality games.
yeah, indeed. Well, that's it then. Any other final thoughts, Stress, on day one?
It was hype. Tomorrow's going to be hype. The new teams are going to be hype Saturday. It's going to be the word. That's what you want to use alongside
Hype
hashtag EULCS. Yeah.
All right, cool.
hype.
Well, that will do it then from us here on day one. It was hype already. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again tomorrow as the
This
summer split
time.
continues. Have a great night.
We had a rough year and now we're back. We're great. Welcome everyone. It's the summer split.
Oh,
Jankos.
Jankos is in trouble. No support from the mid lane. First blood picked up by Trashy. Wild Growth keeps picking up. Everybody dodges the barrel. Odo just cannot find anybody. Che gets another.
You guys can stay for turret. Good job.
Chow comes the taunt, the flash, not quite up in time. That's going to be first blood. Quick and easy. Fnatic make it happen.
I mean, Saz is looking at me like he wants to kill me, so I don't know what to say now. I'm really scared.
Chain of Corruption locks down Senkax and Kobe. That's another for Jankos and Odo to clean the fight.
There's the entrance, but Zoaz not going to find it. Jezis does, though.
One there, you're going to ruin our prediction.
Ruined it! I didn't have to do it.
Now you've made Deficio a liar.
There's no mana in that bag. Bam! Ignar going to drop as well. Triple for Reckless.
That was really free.
H2K. Smooth and clean finish. Takedown Splice.
It's unlucky, but it's definitely unlucky for Reckless. He gets set to go down, but no! The turn! What a beautiful play coming in from Fnatic. Make anything else happen. Flash forward for Soaz, drags the blade with him, trying to get the slows down onto Ignar. Oh, we call that the dunk.
Finally, I can play the skin on this stage.
She's onto Senkax. Shockwave comes out. That's two already for Febivin. It's a double-double as Nuclear picks up the triple to close it out.
Reckless does so much damage. All the focus onto Soaz. Two members pop back in. Taunt the chain CC. Keep going. Get the resets. Leap in. Reckless.
H2K obliterates Splice.
Reckless is doing reckless things. Double kill drops for Soaz, so he too can pad out the KDA. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 for Fnatic. Dominating first game.
Jankos, it's a little bit of a high five tap on the shoulder by Prali.